Welcome to That Anita Live, the talk show dedicated to providing emotional healing through sharing to help you create a happier life. My guest today wants to know what is holding you back. McKenzie encourages us to encourage one another to affect change while living, loving, and dreaming boldly. She's a super mom of two beautiful girls, a motivational speaker that empowers us because, as she says, our goals are important and powerful when aligned with our purpose. Her mission is to motivate you to capitalize on your now by pursuing a bold life with urgency and intention because your dreams just can't wait. Welcome, Ms. McKenzie, to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Now, I know that your undergrad is a concentration in neuroscience.
Yes.
So how do we get from neuroscience to motivational speaking?
Oh my goodness. So I currently practice in emergency medicine as a physician assistant. That is what I do full time.
Yes.
Okay.
For those of us that are not smart, please tell me what that is.
Oh my goodness.
Because we think physician's assistant, okay, we got an idea what they do.
Okay.
But when you add emergency medicine onto it,
okay.
Are you primarily in the emergency room?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So I do work in the emergency room at Johns Hopkins in East Baltimore, and I work with a physician team. I operate or I practice under their guidance. I see patients, I diagnose, I treat, order labs.
Wow.
So I am the extension of a physician, and I always work in a team. I'm a big team person.
So is that connected to you now telling us, me included, because when I met you at the conference, what, like 2-3 years ago now?
Yeah.
You were telling us that our dreams cannot wait and that we should step out and begin to pursue them in the moment. Don't plan, don't think, just where you are, start moving.
So the irony is it's not like why do I keep saying operate? So on a daily basis, I'm amongst change. People are coming in with things that are happening to them, like acutely, that they want help fixing. And there are times that ends in end of life. But as a provider, you have to externalize it to an extent because you see a lot. You see a lot every day. And so to the extent that maybe you feel a little even bulletproof, if I can say that. And I believe that it wasn't until I was on the other side of the table that it changed things for me. So I will say in 2013, I moved back to the area. I had 2 beautiful girls. I had an amazing husband. We had awesome careers. We had both had master's degrees. We had an awesome house. We loved our community. We vacationed internationally. Everything was awesome. And my career, amazing. So when I tell you that every day when I saw these changes, I didn't think that it applied to me. My husband developed a cough and pain. Okay. And that turned into a late stage, end stage metastatic lung cancer diagnosis. And
was he a smoker?
No.
Right.
No.
Because most people that are diagnosed with lung cancer are non-smokers and have never smoked.
I mean, he broke the mold on several different fronts. He was young, he was a non-smoker. On the outside, you would have thought he looked like the picture of health. But I mean, there's nothing to unfortunately justify the fact that his life was taken by lung cancer.
How did you first find out that he was diagnosed with lung cancer?
It was that simple.
Okay.
He had a little bit of pain, it didn't go away, and a chest x-ray, boom, huge mass.
And
huge mass that sits near his heart. It was huge. It was like the size of his fist.
Wow. And being someone that can look at an x-ray and understand Were you standing there when the light was turned on?
No, I wasn't. He got a copy of the x-ray, and because he was able to tell me about it. I wasn't even at the appointment.
Okay.
Nobody expressed
because
this.
it was just a cough.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a grown man. He can go to his own doctor's appointments. Like, I don't need to be there. And then they sent him for an x-ray, and usually that's done as an outpatient. So you just go to a radiology place, you get an x-ray, and you come home. But I don't recall if it was the same day he came home with the image, or when they told him about the image and we had to get a copy of the image. But yeah, startling. Took my breath away. I was like, that's ginormous.
And fast forward to, I guess, that moment when you're at home after, you know, all of the events, the planning, the funeral, and the family is gone. And it hit you. What hit you? What did you think in that moment?
I mean, all of those things that I mentioned previously, that I saw as a blessing. Like, you just get to this place in life where you're just grateful. And then I just saw the floor of my dreams just drop out. And I said, you know, where do I go from here? I was at a complete loss. And I say two things. Like, number one, like, if it weren't for my little girls, like, I promise you, I could have walked and kept walking. My nature is to be a lone ranger, so I could have just kept walking, but I had these two little itty bitty girls that needed me, and they anchored me down in a way that I just had to figure it out, which leads me to why I'm here today, because I'm so grateful, because in that space I was given a huge sense of peace. Like, it passed my understanding how much peace I had, and I can only say that that came from God. And I just had this moment where I'm just like, where do I go next? I wanted time, but I didn't have any time. Like, I had to go back to work. I had bills to pay, because all of those things that I mentioned were attached to some sort of payment. Like,
and you told me earlier that you do not identify with the term or the description single mom.
Yes.
Why is that?
Oh, I mean, a part of this was the discovery back to, why am I here? Like, why am I here? And I had to get to a place of, who am I? And to get to who I am, I had to remove all sorts of hats about what I do or how I am related to get to me. And then, so I get to this place and I'm able to identify who I am. And, you know, as the term goes, you want to be judged by the content of your character. I think that's MLK Jr., right? But people kept just wanting to, you know, how do we define her now? And I'm like, single mom doesn't quite do it. I get the fact that I am the single care provider for my children, but all of these labels come with some sort of connotation with them. And I didn't want that to be, like, I wanted to be known for me and what I gave as opposed to what I did. And so I try to break the mold on all labels, not just that one. Just, you know, we can go down the list as a woman, as a black woman professional, like all of those things. Like, the moment you give me a label, I'm like, give me a bat. I'm going to try to smash it. Like, so, I'm not the average.
How does that break into motivational speaking? Because you have your hands full. A full-time job, okay? And then full-time job in medicine.
Yeah.
2 beautiful girls. Then I'm sure at some point you had to fight back family who was just overwhelming because they thought, oh my God, now we have to help her. Like, we have to be there. And sometimes that can feel like you're suffocating, like they're putting a cup over you and trying to prevent you from moving forward with the idea that you have of life versus what they see for you. So where does motivational speaking get into that?
I think it kind of goes back to, you know, trying to define who I am and getting to the place where I think we all start off very early trying to design our life and our careers and what that future looks like. And we're really immature at that place. Like we don't know who we are, and we immediately start defining ourselves by the things that we do. And so when I realized who I was, I needed to figure that portion out. And before, like, when I talk about those finance part of it, like, it's a big piece of it, because I was going to write a book for my girls on finance. Because I was just like, I learned so much. And I'm like, they have to know this. When they turn 18, they got to do X, Y, Z. And I wanted them to know. But then they said, Mom, what happens if you die? And for me, that just changed everything. And that's what led me on the quest to, I need to learn more about how I see things and who I am. Okay. And so my book that I am writing is about who we are as people. What is your story going to be when change happens? Because change is going to happen.
Yes.
It always happens. It's not going to stop happening. And I'm not grandfathered into no change. Like, what does that look like? And I want my girls to be able to say, hey, I'm well equipped to say, whatever happens, I can do anything. I can be anything. And if I tell them that they can do that, then I have to lead by example. I have to show them.
Okay.
And if I'm writing this book for them, I plan on being here.
Yes.
And because of that grace I was given, that peace, I feel compelled to share. I'm not a sharer. I'm a giver, though. I am. And if I can give this back, this is the way I have to do it. I have to step out of my comfort zone. I have to stand up and be like, this is my story. Everybody has a story. And it doesn't have to be as dramatic as mine. It doesn't. But we all do have fine things that we can contribute. And I'm just starting that conversation on the individual level, on all levels, just to the extent that opportunities open up themselves for me to share, then I am compelled to share.
We'll be right back to talk about exactly what she shares and where, so that you can find it online for more motivation. And we're in studio with the amazing McKenzie. She was sharing her story of tragedy and triumph. Right now, though, your videos that you post for motivation on social media go through the roof. Everybody loves them.
Thank you.
And the comments are furious. People are impacted by what you're sharing. Do you feel that love coming back to you when you post those videos and you get thousands of views?
It's hard. It's hard to say, because I started off on this journey saying that if I can just change one person's life and just the unknown ripples involved with that, then I'm satisfied. But I'm also competitive. So when it's just like, all right, so this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is what I'm supposed to be seeing. So when you put metrics involved, it just gives you this place of like competition, and it's not really a competition. So the places where I get the biggest nuggets are when people leave comments and they're saying how they're personally affected by it. Because while you get thousands of views, there's very few people that actually reach out to you and actually have a personal conversation. And it's those people that I really, really cherish, because like, I mean, I appreciate everyone for, giving me time, because that's my thing, time.
How do you choose your topics?
I live life. And it's amazing how just on a weekly basis, things come up and everything is just showing up at the right time in my life. I can't lie. It's just, boom. Okay, let's go with it. Yeah, it's that simple. You were talking about like what my last post was. Yeah. This is like the perfect example, my last 2 posts. So a couple weeks ago, I was just in this place where I had to do a video and I didn't really want to do one. I was just like, oh my goodness, why am I doing this? Like in the sea of just so many people delivering content, why am I doing this? Because who is actually hearing this? Who's benefiting from it? And it's certainly, like I said, I'm busy. Like there's plenty of things I could be doing with my time. And so I made a video just to encourage myself to be truthful. And I said, you know, who am I in a sea of many? Like, I am me. And I recognize my worth and my gifts now. So I have to realize, to the extent that I can share that and encourage people to do the same, then it's worth it. And when we start talking about, you know, talents and gifts, like outside of like, yeah, I was a neuroscience major, but I was also a student athlete. Like I played volleyball. Yeah. And
your college retired your jersey.
They did. You know, the year after, you know, my husband passed, I'm still in this dark place and trying to figure out who I am. And I'm surrounded by people that are celebrating like the things that led me to those accomplishments. And it was really an awesome thing. And then so like the day I post my video, a Colgate alum reaches out to me and is like, did you see this article? And I was just like, oh, no, I didn't. And I was just like, number one, I'm not really history. Like, I feel a little dated now, but for Black History Month, you know, there was an article about me and, you know, what I had done athletically at Colgate. So it was just like the timing of it all. And it's not something I share a lot, but it's huge in my life. The people that were a part of my life at that time that continue to pour in, like my team showed up in a big way, you know, decades later, after I lose my husband, they were right there. And I was just like, wow. So and also being down and feeling like I'm against all odds. Like those are some of the things that happen on the court. Like you look at the scoreboard, you know how you're feeling, you see the other team. Like I was at least drawing from a familiar place of feeling down and knew that I could still make it. So.
Do you ever go back and watch your videos to see whether or not how that motivational moment affects you?
In real time, I look at it, but I haven't gone back into, because I guess this has been maybe actually a year of videos. And I know I've grown a ton. I've grown a ton in the past several years. So my writing, my speaking, my interactions, me being more comfortable in my own skin, being able to share without like breaking down, knowing that it's gonna be okay. Like you start off at a point where you're talking about it's gonna be okay, but it's not really okay.
Right.
And then you're just like in a place where you're like, okay. So, yeah.
What are some of the topics that you've talked about in your past videos?
Oh my goodness. I think the biggest thing that I just recently realized was, you know, one of my taglines is, you know, I hope that we all find the urgency to live this life according to our dreams and purpose. And I've realized that that's a whole big mouthful, but like, what does it mean? Like, what does it mean?
How do you apply it? What is the practicality of it?
And so I've mentioned that, you know, I work in emergency medicine. I see change happen all the time. When it personally affected me, it came true in a very different way. I'm a different provider because of this. Like those walls that I had up in caring for those people, like I have no choice but to have more compassion in those scenarios, or have a sense of like more ability to relate. And so when I say purpose and intention, like purpose, intention, and time, you never know when those changes are going to happen. And so if you dig deep down and you find your purpose, because I believe we all have one. We may have several, but like I believe that our gifts are tied in with those. And so if you realize that, you know, we can define time, you know, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. But what's the time of our life? we don't know. Like, we know the average life expectancy, and clearly my husband left before.
Clearly, way before his time.
So
what we would define as his time.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. What we would define as his time. And so I believe that God has a plan for me, and I don't know the time I have to complete that. So every day I'm going to be very intentional with my time and my efforts, and I'm going to, the most I can do in each 24 hours, that's why I do so much, because I'm like, let's go.
So what dreams are you following?
I want to be able to spend more time with my girls.
Okay.
I think that we engineer our lives to this place where we're just giving away so much of our time to the things that we do, and not necessarily to the things that we want to do.
Okay.
And so to the extent that I can become more financially free so that I can, spend more time with my girls, that's where I am. I want to take back my life. I don't want to spend, like, nobody ever says, I wish I worked more at the end of their life. So to the extent that I can live life with them, model for them, travel with them, show them other people, experiences, and I'm grateful for God's grace, and to the extent we can share that, I will. So those are my dreams. I'm living them, and pushing forward to being able to do it more.
You're two beautiful girls.
They're amazing.
Keep you busy.
Yes, they do.
What are their individual number one activities to share with mom?
I don't know if we have any individual stuff yet. We pretty much hang out together as a team. Right now, I have to give a little eartime to Sayuri. She is someone who lives with me now, and she's amazing. And she fits right into the family. I am so grateful to, we're in this space where we all have these support systems, and she is here, and she's a huge part of mine. And I don't think her enough. I don't think we thank everybody enough, but she's huge. So we love playing games together. We love traveling together. And in terms of sports and activities, there's plenty of time for them. There's plenty of time.
So there doesn't appear to be a volleyball interest in either one?
It's early. They're in 2nd and 4th grade. I've signed them up for little classes here and there. Okay. But I mean, that's the other thing. Once they get involved in these sports, we're talking about, I turn into a taxi as opposed to anything else.
I like how you put that.
It's true.
I like how you put that.
Yeah. And I mean, the burnout is real. I realized that by the time I ended my collegiate career, I did try out for the Olympics, and I was tired. I was just my body was physically tired at that point. And so, and I started pretty late in my career in terms of, the year-round sports. I think there's plenty of time. You can smush it into less time. I don't think the advantage of starting right now is there. We can build our life as a family, and that trust, and that, I want to have this life where they can relate to me and come back to me and have conversations. Everybody's those tweens and teens are coming up, your kids are gonna hate you. And I was to the extent that I can avoid that, I would like to. And maybe this is me being naive right now and being just wait. But I want to spend time to develop those relationships, because in my opinion, I think that's what's missing. If they enter those troubled years without that foundation, it's hard time to develop that foundation, right?
So to the person that is currently in the spot that you were in 2013-14, and where they have lost their loved one, their partner, and caretaker of their family, what would you reach out to them and say to get them from where they are now to where you are now?
I couldn't have seen here from there. I couldn't have.
Okay.
And in those moments, it literally was a moment by moment scenario. And to be brutally honest, it was in those moments, God, you got me, right? Okay, I'll take another step. You're right there, right? Like, it really was. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if I look back on the things I was able to accomplish, that wasn't just me. And so to the extent that they find a way to, faith was a huge part of that for me. If they take it moment by moment and put their trust in God, He will take them through. I don't know any other way. That's how I made it through. I can't lie.
Well, accomplishing your goals and living your dreams sure does do good things for your emotions. It's also an excellent way to set an example for all the little people in your life that are watching you and looking up to you and will one day model your behavior. If you'd like to learn more about Autumn, visit autumnmckenzie.com. Make the commitment to start your journey to emotional healing today. I'm Anita, your host. Be sure to check out thatanitalive.com for where and when to see our next episode.